Insights with Terri Coots, a weekly look through the eyes of predictive astrologer Terri Coots. Here's Terri.
Hi everyone, this is Terri, and you're listening to Insights with Terri Coots. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to be working with the week of July the 25th through July the 31st, headed into August. Oh my goodness, where has the summer gone so fast? I know so many people are struggling with the heat, but I enjoy each season, but summer for me the most. Just nice and warm. Speaking of warm, we have a lot of Leo energy over us right now, and Leo being that fire sign, and I bet you for a lot of people it feels like fire right now. We are in a very, very warm period of time for many, many places across the globe, ourselves included. So Leo, as I said, that fire sign, we made that transition from Cancer, and Cancer is a water sign. This is a really, I'm not going to necessarily say difficult transition, but it certainly is significant, and it's not the easiest one that there is, from water, the flexibility, the coolness, the fluidity, to that fire. So we have to now engage with the passion, maybe some short fuses where we're just a little bit on edge with that transition. It may be us. It could be some people that you live with that are going through this, and that can ignite us if we're not careful. So we have to look around us and see what's not just going on in us, what's going on around us, and are we adding fuel to the fire of maybe somebody else? How can I diffuse this if possible, or maybe I can just run for your life. Depends on the situation that you're in. But we've got that Leo energy in the sun sign, which is everything about how we identify with ourselves and other people. We've got it in Mercury, which is how we think, how we communicate. And we're working on it in Venus as well, moving again, as I said, from that Cancer sign to Leo. Now Mars, which is a fire sign, and is that passion planet, that planet of, the red planet, that angry planet. It's just passionate. That's still in the bull. And the bull, very strong-minded, as I've said before in previous podcasts, very strong-willed, very determined. We can take that determination and use it for ourselves if we choose, or we can cut our nose off to spite our face. It's our choice what you want to do. I think personally, it might be a better idea to look at some projects that are necessary. Do I need to take all my energy and focus it in on something and complete that project, or push past some of my fears or some of the things that I'm avoiding? So it's a really good time for all of us to see what we want to attack and act for that energy to just move past it, move through it, move into it, and become victorious. Now, with all of that, just as far as health goes, towards the beginning of the week, our vulnerable areas in our body, at least in this area, can center around, moving out of the neck and the head, can center around the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and any of you that have any difficulties with their lungs, your bronchial tubes, those can be a little bit vulnerable. Right now, I myself am noticing a little bit more coughing, a little bit more Halls is required than necessary. So just look at your body and their vulnerable points, and if you happen to be vulnerable in that area, the beginning of the week may be a little bit of a challenge for you. Towards the end of the week, we'll be looking more at the heart, your blood pressure, your blood circulation, the aorta, all of the things that are heart related may be more vulnerable. Now, that can be, any medications that you take. It could be a side effect, stress, the heat. So all of these can play into challenging us in that area, but it will be a vulnerable time. So if you have irregular heartbeats, any of what we just discussed, keep an eye. You don't have to be paranoid, but just don't treat those body parts badly during this time. They need to be coddled and taken care of. On the nuance part of things, towards the middle of the week, we may experience a little bit of tummy upsets, a little bit more sensitive tummy than normal. Any of the females with any of your regenerative organs may be a little bit more difficult to work with. So if you have, keep an eye on any of that female regenerative thing. So if you have maybe a propensity to have hot periods, hard periods, hot flashes during menopause, any woman-related stuff on the nuance side, hormonal changes, irritability in our personality, just give yourself some room there. Maybe in love, give your family some room there. So that may be a little bit of a challenge. Towards the end of the week and the beginning of next, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself, so I apologize, we may be a little bit more weak in the pancreatic area. So just if you've got diabetes, or if you're fat sensitive, where eating any greasy foods could give you any grief, your pancreas are not going to be your friend towards the end of this week, beginning of the next. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Do some good things for yourself. Now, with this energy of Mercury, planet of the mind, processing, and I did talk about the two planets, Saturn and Jupiter, that are our teachers, the good teacher, Jupiter, the really hard teacher, Saturn, both going retrograde, there to teach us some powerful, powerful lessons, both as a species, as an individual. So we have some really opportunity things coming up here to help us learn our lessons if we open our eyes and are willing to embrace it, hard and easy. But we talked about that last week, so I don't want to kick a dead horse here. So if you're interested, you can go back to the website, www.terriworld.com, and look at some of the archived podcasts that Charlie has kindly put up there for us. That's Charlie O'Brien. If you have any of your digital needs, he's amazing and has done an amazing job. I think he just said we're past 80 as far as podcasts go at this point. So, given some of the stuff that is teaching us and helping us to learn things, what we might need to look at is, what are our deep, deep lessons? And then again, as I said, Mercury, the planet of thinking, how we think, how we process, that being in Leo, that may give us the opportunity to really see a big picture for ourselves. What's the big picture? Really, if we think about it, it's a phrase that we often use, but what is the big picture? Is the big picture our lives? Is the big picture the world, the globe? I think everything right now is our big picture. And we've got to look at that, maybe at the cost of ignoring the details, or maybe we don't want to look at the big picture because there is a cost of ignoring the details. We have to look at this personally and make that decision. We, as Leo in Mercury, have in our little tool bag the art of persuasion. So maybe others might try to win people over with logic and guilt, wit. When it's in Mercury like this, when Leo's in Mercury like this, we are given the gift of warmth and goodwill, and that may hold sway over some of the situations that we're in, that we maybe want to identify for other people or discuss. We have all those opportunities, and it gives us the opportunity to be maybe a little pretty good at promoting some of our ideas and getting our message across. We all want to get our message across. It feels good to be heard. It feels good to somebody have looking at us and maybe having somebody pause and be attentive to what we're talking about, or honor the fact that maybe they don't agree with us, but they're giving us that space to speak our minds. We don't have to roar, but we can speak. With that Leo, we'll tend to roar. Watch that we don't get too attached to our own opinion, because that can happen at this time. Yes, we should take pride in our beliefs if they're balanced. And yes, during this time, we can be rather idealistic, but we should be capable. And we should be capable at the intellectual level to be able to self-express right now. So take your time. If there's something that you feel the need that you need to talk about, or you want to talk about, or needs to be heard, take your time, get your words together. This is a time that offers us that opportunity for that. That Mercury in Leo is very communicative in that type of way. Gives us a flair, gives us a little bit of maybe even drama. And when we're passionate about something, if we don't lose our minds and we can keep our words together, that enthusiasm can help us be better speakers and really get that message with some zeal off to the people that we're hoping to get it off to. So look at some of the ways people are expressing things to you. How are they presenting their ideas and their thoughts to you? Is it with style? Is it with warmth? We have that to give, we have that to receive. Watch for that male lion. I shouldn't say male, should I? Let's just go back and say, watch for that lion, be it the male lion or the female lioness, that stubbornness in the face of criticism, maybe a little oversensitivity to anything less than praise. Maybe it's just constructive criticism and we need to hear it. So let's not get our egos in the way, which can happen during this time. Watch that we don't become mentally arrogant, because that can be a very difficult time for us right now. It can be something that we go to where ego can play a very strong part in what we're working with, or how we perceive something, or how we absorb something. Intellect and ego should be very different from each other, but also can be very closely tied. So we have to choose to own the ability to separate fact from fiction, because that could be impaired during this time. So if you look about maybe even some of the politics in the United States right now, where Pence is on one side of the coin and Trump is on the other, both Republicans, very, very different perceptions of things at this time, and very different ways of expressing, say, the ideals of that party. So I think right now, all of us in some way, shape, or form are being challenged to separate fact from fiction. I really do think that in many cases, the internet hasn't been our friend. Now, boasting, we got to watch that. During this time, we tend to do that. I know we could look at ourselves and say, no, I don't boast, but keep an eye. It's subtle. It's an energy field with Mercury in Leo that can permeate, and we might not even notice it's happening. Kind of when you get jelly on your fingers, and then pretty soon it's on your white blouse, and then it's on your socks, and then it's on your pants, and you wonder, wow, how could that go so far? It permeates. So that boasting kind of energy will be there, and we could tend to maybe do it a little bit, and so we have to fight that if we can. If you like stories, this is a great time. If you're a storyteller, there are some people that are storytellers. I don't mean liars. I mean storytellers. There are some people that are magnificent storytellers. During this time, they seem to just shine. They have a wonderful sense of drama, and they speak from the heart. And it reminds me of being around the campfire, and we had aunts and uncles telling stories. They were so intriguing and so interesting to us young little kids around the campfire. But some people haven't lost that ability. So if you know a storyteller, or maybe even a senior that wants to talk a little bit about their life during the Depression, or during the Spanish flu, or World War I, World War II, they may be able to lend some light on a subject that we don't know very much about, or you'll learn something. So don't avoid the storytellers right now. It sometimes helps us to understand some of our own background, and so many people now are interested in, Ancestry.com. So I think we're looking at history a bit as our teacher, and I think that history should be our teacher. We should learn from history. Now, the number that I pulled up for us for this week, starting on Monday, the 25th, is number 2. And the characteristics of this, combined with where the planets are, is tolerance and kindness. I know kindness has been really hammered at us by our guides. in the last little bit. I think for good reason. Of course, they know things that are going on. Number 2 supports good intuition, and it can be used in so many different activities. We don't have to limit it to anything. It doesn't have to just be psychic. It is psychic. It is intuitive. It is natural. But don't be afraid to use it. Just have a good listen to others. Try to be patient with this number 2. It tries to offer us that. And number 2 lends us to want to learn the art of diplomacy. Oh, and heaven knows that that is lacking right now. Number 2, the downfall can be that we can lack the courage to implement the plans that we've maybe sort of kind of put together and leave that initiative to other people. Now that doesn't go well with the lion energy that we have. So the 2 of them will be very different and require different ways of working, different understandings. So you may feel yourself this week torn in 2 different directions. One to roar, get it done with that bull in Mars, that lion and everything. And the other one, the other side, which is the number 2 in this position, maybe say, well, why don't we let somebody else lead? You know, they can step out. So I'm very much maybe like those, some of the politicians that watched Trump disseminate some of the codes of ethics that everybody had, or thought they had, or thought they owned, or thought was in there for a reason. And they lacked the courage to stand up and to take ownership for it. So they left the initiative to others. That's a little weak. It is. It's a little weak. But then we don't know ourselves until we're pressed into certain situations. So this week may show us who we are and what we are. With number 2, combined with where the planets are, we'll be given the ability to reconcile. Maybe with people, maybe with a dispute that we had. It will give us the opportunity, if we choose, to successfully cooperate with other people. Number 2, not just number 1. And again, remember, the downfalls of number 2 may be clinging to property, to things. Not a great time to clean out a closet because we just fold everything and put it back. And we may be bothered by small problems, not being able to let them go. So little things, insignificant things can bother us, making us insignificant and small. Watch being passive, and try, if you can, not to give in to circumstances if it is not required in that circumstance, in that situation. People can, under stress during this time, poorly cooperate with others. We can become distracted, nervous, not feel like we're at peace, not getting that quiet around them. So just keep an eye on that. Those are the downsides of number 2 packed together with our Leo energy. Now, I did take the latitude of pulling a couple of cards for everybody for this week, remembering that it's just general. So it could be for you. It could be for your mother. It could be, who knows? It could be for somebody else. It could be words that you need to hear down the road. It's general. The very first card that came up is love. The Ace of Hearts. Unconditional love. So if you took a tarot deck, even if you took a playing card deck, Ace is a very powerful card. And I don't play cards, so I'm just going by TV. But I understand that Ace is a very powerful. It's the 1. It's indicative of 1. And love, being the strongest force in the universe, it overcomes everything. So the Ace of Hearts is a high quality number in love. So some of you may experience stirrings of the heart, where we start to maybe find a new love. That could be a new love in other people. It could be a new love of a new person. It could be a love of ourselves and some of the things that we've been able to do, and maybe we take pride with that lion in it. It could be that it's an old love, somebody we've been married to forever, and find new reasons to renew it. So it really is an emotional renewal that's going to be offered to us this week. It's an upsurge of new feelings. So it's the element of water. That's what it's ruled by. It can work with friendships. It can work with emotional and spiritual nourishment that we get by giving and receiving love. This is a very, very powerful energy field that's being offered to us. I'm just going to embrace that one with full power here. The next one it's emotional as well, so it's hearts. It's the 5 of hearts, and 5 in numerology can be a bit of a struggle. So anytime I see 5s, I think, that's a bit of a struggle. It's not going to be an easy fix here. And 5 in the hearts, what it's suggesting when it's coupled with that Ace of Swords, as it is right now, that we may have experienced a loss or disappointment, and we need to have or to look it in the face and say, you know, it had potential, but it didn't bloom. I've got tomato plants out there that had a lot of potential when I put them in the ground. Not sure how many tomatoes I'm going to get, but it had potential. So then do I keep watering it for no good reason because there's not going to have a tomato on there? Or maybe do I just not give up hope and keep watering it in case I get a tomato? Is it worth the effort? Or should I just go buy a tomato? So this is an energy field that makes us look at the loss and the disappointment of emotional situations in a way that says, I'm going to mourn this. I'm going to look it right in the face. I'm going to look at regret. I'm going to look at self-blame. I'm going to look at sadness. Did I brood? Should I brood? Is this an unhappy ending that I need to return over or to look at again? Have I looked at my emotions? Do I need to overturn some of them and really take a peek at them? Am I guilty or the recipient of poor communication? Have I lost my trust? Do I feel emotionally let down? Is there a betrayal of some kind of love? So we have to look at all this. Not easy. This is work. This is love work. This is hard. So we may be called in some circumstances to look at some of the things that we've gone through with those retrograde planets of teaching and say, what have I learned from it? Where do I stand? I know this hurts many people. Many people are really struggling right now. And they don't call it work for no reason, but it's something we're supposed to grab, embrace, and hold, wrestle it to the ground, and get a good look at it. If we do that, there's a guarantee here of victory. So that's what they're showing. It's a soul energy, and it's victorious. It may not feel that way right out of the gate, but it ends up that way. But that's up to us. And then the Magician comes up. Now the Magician is upside down in this particular position of the way that the cards have come up for us for this week. This can indicate for us that we're having the power to be a magician, to pull a rabbit out of our hat, to make miracles happen. It's upside down. So some of us are going to be embarking on a road of developing that power of magic, of maybe not being as tied to physics, and maybe miracles happen and we'll see them. Or maybe with it's upside down, we walk away from it and we don't try to engage it and we don't work with it. We can, but we choose not to. Maybe it's just too hard to work and we don't want to be bothered. You're going to have to look at yourself. And we have to look at others without judgment, but with realistic eyes and say, where is all of this in my life? And then we have to look at humanity right now as a whole, globally. What happens in India happens here. What happens in China happens here. What happens anywhere, and not listening to the news is not going to change an outcome. So some of us want to hide and some of us want to embrace it. Some of us want to be prepared for it and some of us want to say, I don't want to hear it. Maybe we do need a rest. But this is an energy field that is calling us to face our fear, look it right straight in the face, and see what we want to do about it. Do we want to run? Do we want to stand there and face it? Do we want to learn about it? What do we want to do? So this week is going to give us the opportunity to do that. So I hope all of you have a productive week, that it's not too hard on you. Enjoy some of this warm weather, because when winter comes, we'll wish we had it. Enjoy being outside right now, because I think outside right now has a really healing energy. enjoy each other. Remember that love energy, be kind to each other. How can we go out of our way for each other? What can we donate time to each other? Energy, effort, what can we do? How can we help each other? And that's what that love card is. It's unconditional love. It is given without cost to the other person. It's given freely, but as well, we have to learn how to accept it, not just give it. So that's our lesson this week. Enjoy, everybody. Thank you so much for taking your time and sharing your time with me. I appreciate that. That's the biggest gift somebody can give another person. Also, if you'd like to hear some of the podcasts that Charlie O'Brien has graciously put up, he's got us on Apple iTunes, on Spotify, on SoundCloud, Amazon Music, and on YouTube. So any place that you get your podcasts that you normally listen, you can find us. I will put the link, once Charlie gives it to me, to the YouTube ones, and I'll have that hopefully on Monday or Tuesday, depending on Charlie's busy schedule. So thanks, everybody. If you would like a reading for yourself, so I can focus on you, my number is 519-726-6699, or you can email me at Terri, Terri, .Coutts, Coutts, @gmail.com. You can text that number if you'd like, or you can phone, whatever's good for you. Thanks again, everybody, for your time. You have yourself a wonderful week. Good on all of you. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Insights with Terri Coutts, and visit her website, terriworld.com, Terri world.com. And we'll catch you next time